How do you know that Marcus Ellis did not commit that crime?
Well, that's simple. I know it because I'm the one who did it.
A stunning admission. News 4 Investigates goes behind the bars of a Missouri prison tonight, where a man claims he's innocent of a crime that sent him away for 2 decades.
News 4 investigator Lauren Traeger is working to get answers tonight in the interest of justice.
October, 14 years ago, the now demolished Cochran Gardens housing complex in St. Louis. A woman went to see her sister, but the elevator door opened too soon. 2 young men, one held a gun, the other wore a mask. They demanded her purse. The next day, police arrested 2 people, John Hickman and Marcus Ellis. Did you commit this robbery?
No, ma'am, I did not.
For 13 years, Ellis has been here in prison. The criminal justice system, he says, to blame.
I had no money for powerful lawyers and I had no status in the community, and this is what happens.
That October, the day after the armed robbery, the 20-year-old had gone to his grandma's house. She lived in the Cochran building, too. He saw Hickman, his daughter's uncle.
So I'm like, oh man, that's John Hickman. I'm gonna go out here and I'm gonna go holler at him.
Hickman, he says, asked him if he wanted a hat, a skull cap.
I noticed it was eye holes in the skull cap. So I tell John, I say, what you doing with these eye holes in the skull cap? And he was like, oh man, that ain't nothing, you know, it is what it is.
But that cap became evidence against him at his jury trial. The victim never saw his face, of course, because of the mask. But police put Ellis in a lineup with 4 other men, he says, who were older than him. The masked man had said 5 words during the robbery: "Shooter, man, shooter." In the lineup, police instructed Ellis to utter those same words.
So the witness posed to allegedly pick me out of a lineup by my voice.
The victim testified his height and build were consistent too. How sure are you? The prosecutor asked her at trial. 100% sure, she said. Though on cross-exam, she did say his voice was younger than other people in the lineup. The jury found him guilty. I'm innocent, Ellis told the judge at sentencing, and I feel it's unfair for me to be convicted by voice, by somebody saying I sounded like a person, and I want to continue to proclaim my innocence. With a prior record including drug dealing, the judge sentenced Ellis to 18 years in prison.
I've done hundreds of appeals in the last 15 years, and this was, I believe, the only case where I've seen that.
Attorney Jessica Hathaway represented Ellis on appeal. She questioned police procedure with the lineup.
Here there was no effort to find people with a similar sounding voice.
She argued against the voice identification.
In the area of voice identification, it's just essentially the Wild West.
But the courts upheld the conviction. 13 years have passed. Ellis's daughter, Janiyah, just a baby when he went in, now much older, posing for pictures in the prison's visitors room.
So my daughter 15 years old now. She need a father out there.
Ellis says he's held onto hope.
Hope is the only way I can stay rational and stay sane.
And now his hope has a name: Nathan Barry. How do you know that Marcus Ellis did not commit that crime?
Well, that's simple. I know it because I'm the one who did it.
In 2016, Barry was sentenced to prison for 15 years for a series of crimes. He got transferred to the prison in Pacific last year, and that's where he just so happened to meet Ellis, he says, for the very first time.
Man, we was talking about sports, women.
we just talk like regular guys, you know?
Yeah.
Talk turned to why they were in there.
I'm like, man, you locked up for a robbery with John Hickman? He told me, he said, yeah. He said, but I didn't do it.
Barry says he told Ellis he believed him for one simple reason.
I did that. That was me.
Barry, who was 16 at the time, described details. He'd been hanging out with Hickman and a group that day in October. Hickman, he said, suggested the robbery, gave him a mask.
Let's rob somebody. Get a little money, get something to drink, hang out with these girls.
Ellis says he could hardly believe what he was hearing. Barry says he suddenly faced a dilemma.
He was like, man, would you be willing to tell somebody this? You know, I'm like, yeah, okay, let me think about it. But I'm thinking, no.
But he says he stopped sleeping.
It's like, man, I might as well put that man in jail myself. I might as well locked him up and put him in her. Because, in a sense, I did.
He decided to come forward, wrote an affidavit, sent it off to attorneys and to News 4.
I began to sleep better. And to this day, I sleep better.
But could it be too good to be true, too convenient? I asked Barry if Ellis had promised him anything for coming forward.
Sometimes when I need something to hear, I'm like, hey, you got a bag of chips. And, you know, he'll be like, yeah, all right, I'll give you a bag of chips, man. But as far as promising me anything, no, he didn't promise me anything.
He says he will cooperate with investigators.
Yep.
Even knowing it could bring consequences.
Yep.
So we took the matter directly to the circuit attorney's office who prosecuted the case. They confirm Ellis's case is now under review.
If there was a wrong, we can right the wrong.
In fact, Circuit Attorney Kim Gardner says the office has just been awarded a federal grant. Dedicated staff will work with the Midwest Innocence Project to begin reviewing approximately 20 cases. No prosecutor, she says, wants to convict the wrong person.
Sometimes good people make mistakes, just as well as prosecutors. It's not intentionally, but I think it's our job to make sure we have the right person.
Hathaway, too, says she's willing to help.
I wouldn't be surprised if he was wrongfully identified here.
I think it was divine intervention. even though,
wow.
An unlikely meeting.
What else could it be besides, you know, God wanting to set things right in the world?
Renewing Ellis's hope.
I feel like at the end, justice will be done for me.
Experts in this field tell us armed robberies are among the cases most likely to see a wrongful conviction because so much of the evidence relies on eyewitness testimony, often from the victim, which experts say can sometimes be flawed. Both men tell me they're very sorry for what the victim in this case went through. We tried numerous times to reach out to her, but she never responded to us. The review of Ellis's case could take quite a while. We will keep following it. I'm Lauren Traeger, News 4 Investigates.